Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to this video. So I'm sick and it sucks like a lot. I thought it was getting better, but I actually just got worse, and this entire weekend I've just been feeling so terrible. I'm not gonna sit here and sound pathetic, but if I do look a bit like a zombie, or if I just sound a bit weird, it's because I am still sick. And I should probably go to a doctor soon, but it's nothing serious, but it's just annoying, right? So for today's video, I am going to be doing my October wrap-up and my November TBR. And I completed a good amount of books in October, I would say. I completed 7 books. One of them was a graphic novel. And I'm also currently reading a poetry book, but there's still like 2 days left of October, so I'm planning on finish that before it's November. So I'm just gonna include it in my October wrap-up, even though I'm not done yet. But I am pretty sure I will be able to finish it. So the books that I read that I'm going to show you guys is just going to be in a random order. And I read some pretty good books. I also read a few where I was like, nah. But I definitely also read some really good books. I think I'm going to show you guys the graphic novel first, because then that's out of the way. And that was the second volume of Persepolis that I am still butchering pretty hard. I rated this 5 out of 5 stars. It's really good, and it's really interesting to follow her journey and how life in Europe and Iran is. It's pretty interesting. The next book that I read in the month of October was Fortune Soul by Maxine Benneber Clark, and I still also probably butcher that name. This was a collection of different short stories. I rated this either 4 or 3 out of 5 stars. I cannot really remember. I think I rated it 4 out of 5 stars because there was some of these stories that I really actually enjoyed. But I also thought some of them was quite hard to understand. I don't know if some of the characters had some really strong accents or what it was, but some of the stories, it was just written in a way that I just really didn't understand. And it's not like English is a tough language for me to read, but it's not my native language, so there is still a lot of words that I can struggle with, and I think that's maybe also just the same if English is your native language. I mean, in Danish there are also Danish words that I'm struggling with, even though it's my native language. But so there were some times where I was just struggling a little bit through this book, but some of the stories I really did enjoy, which is why I think I rated it 4 stars. The next book that I read was Baby Doll by Holly Overton. This was such an amazing book. I rated this 5 out of 5 stars. We follow a character called Lily, and she was abducted when she was 16 years old. She has been abducted for, 8 years. She has a daughter called Sky, which is 6. They have been abducted by a man that I'm not going to say who is, because that will just spoil a bit for you guys, so I'm not going to mention who the kidnapper is. But one time he left the door unlocked and they decide to escape, and that's actually the beginning of the story. We hear about her life when she was kidnapped, but the beginning of the story is actually what happens after she escaped. With her family, her daughter, the kidnapper, and we also see this from like 4 different perspectives. We see it's from Lily's perspective, her twin sister Abby, her mom Eve, and the kidnapper's perspective, which is also really interesting actually to hear. Then I also read You by Carolyn Ketnips, and I rated this 3 out of 5 stars. Overall, I highly did enjoy this book, but I had a few problems with it. But the thing that I liked most about this book, this is gonna sound super weird, was actually that it was so messed up and disturbing. Which is why it was good, which is why I liked it. But we follow a character called Beck, and she's being stalked by this guy, and the way his mind works is just really not normal. And I'm not gonna say that much because I feel like maybe we'll spoil something for you guys, but the main plot is we follow Beck that is being stalked by this crazy guy, and it's just weird. He has a messed up mindset. He's weird. Then I read Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, and oh no, I rated this 2 out of 5 stars. I was going into this book having high expectation because we all know Frankenstein and we have all heard about him, but I don't know if I had a lot of problems with this, but the problems that I have just made me not like this book actually as much as I thought I would. First of all, well, this is not the author's fault. That's my own fault, deciding to pick a book that I thought was not easy to read for me. I thought I struggled a lot with a lot of the words, and I don't know if that's a common thing even though English is your native language, or it's just because it's not my native language. But I just struggled a lot with the words and trying to understand the entire story. So it's quite an old story, and I think maybe that was also why I thought it was so hard to read and to get through. But also the entire story was not what I expected at all. I thought something completely different. Not completely, because obviously I have known about Frankenstein and I have watched some things, but I still expected something quite different. And I don't know, I was really thinking giving it a 3 out of 5 stars, but when it all came down to it, I thought it was only 2 stars. But I must say, as I also wrote in my Goodreads review, I do really understand why people love it as much as they do. I just don't think it was something for me. And we're all different like that. The next book that I read, which is probably, actually it is my favorite of the month, is The Diviners by Libba Bray. I kind of read this with one of my good friends here on YouTube called Emily. We actually started the book the same day and I finished it the day after her. It's kind of funny actually, because it wasn't planned or anything. This is super duper good. I loved it and I rated it 5 out of 5 stars. As soon as I was like halfway through this, I went to Amazon and ordered the sequel because I just had to own it. So we follow a character called Evie. She goes from Ohio to New York because of some trouble, and she is going to live with her uncle in New York. And by the way, this is like set in New York in the 1920s. It's 1926 to be precise, I think. And she meets new people, she gets new friends. She has this weird power, but she goes to New York and then all of a sudden a lot of murders are going on and they are trying to investigate these murders, and I will not say anymore because I feel like I would spoil it for you guys. But it's really good and you should definitely pick it up. First of all, I thought it was kind of intimidating because it is almost 600 pages, but I just flew right through this book. I loved it. I was just sneezing so hard. I feel like my entire face is... The next book that I read in the month of October, which is totally different from the other books, but this is a contemporary and it's called Duff by Cody Kemlinger. So we follow a girl called Bianca. She is at a party and then this Weasley guy comes that she absolutely hates. He's like a womanizer and a player, and he calls her Duff, which means a designated ugly fat friend, which is not really the nicest thing to be. But Bianca ends up having a lot of problems with her like family, and not really problems with her friend, but she definitely feels really left out being the Duff. And she ends up having this secret relationship with Weasley where they were having sex but not really having a relationship, but all of a sudden things get weird and things are happening, and it's really good actually. And I love Bianca and Weasley's relationship because it's so weird, but I like it, and I love her two best friends, and I just in general really like the characters in this book, so I'll definitely recommend you read it. And like, well, I actually just said Duff was my last book, but I am also planning finishing Poems of Food and Drink in the month of October. I still have 2 days left, and this is like a collection of poems, so it doesn't take forever to get through. I like it so far. It's pretty good. For my November TBR, I only have 3 books because I don't want to give myself too many books, and I also feel like I will probably end up reading something completely different. I mean, I don't even know. The first book that I really want to read is 3 Dark Crowns by Kendra Blake. I really enjoyed Kendra Blake's writing style because I read Anna Dressed in Blood and I really liked it. The only thing I know about this book is that we follow these 3 different sisters, and to be the queen and to get the crown they have to kill each other, which sounds pretty damn interesting, but that's all I know. The next book that I would like to read is The Call by Theodore Gillian, and I have also mentioned this a ton of times before. I'm still not quite sure how to describe what it's about, actually, unless they're like on this, they're in Ireland and they are waiting for this call and then they're trying to survive, and apparently this is pretty dark and creepy, which is why I want to read it. And the last book that I want to read in the month of November is The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. I have heard that this is about a guy that is being raised on a graveyard by ghosts. I'm not quite sure if that is completely true, but when I heard that, I just knew I had to get it right away. I have known about the Graveyard Book for a long time, but as soon as I heard that was what it was about, I was like, there's no doubt I have to order that right away. So those were the books that I read in October, and those were the books that I wanted to read in November. I'm sorry about being sick, hopefully it gets better, so I have a new video for you guys up on Wednesday. I am highly hoping for it, because I am kind of getting like into a bit of a schedule here. It just kind of failed last week though, but I'm doing my best. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you guys in my next video. Bye!